I was staring at a $5,000 HOA fine taped to my front door, issued for having too many windows. The funny part? The woman who fined me had no idea I controlled security for the entire neighborhood. I moved into this neighborhood for one reason: peace. After 20 years in private and municipal security, handling everything from high-risk facilities to residential communities, I wanted quiet mornings, clean streets, and neighbors who waved instead of watched. The house I bought reflected that mindset. Open, bright, lots of windows. Natural light calmed me. Transparency mattered to me, both literally and figuratively. Everything was perfect for 6 months. Then Karen noticed my windows. Her real name was Linda, but no one called her that. She was a self-appointed enforcer of the HOA, the type who walked around with a clipboard like it was a badge and spoke in bylaw numbers instead of sentences. She didn't smile, she inspected. The first time she approached me, I was watering my lawn. "You know," she said, squinting at my house, "those windows are excessive." I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. According to her, my house had 3 more windows than the HOA aesthetic guideline preferred. Not prohibited, preferred. I asked her to show me the rule. She said she'd get back to me. 2 weeks later, I came home from a security briefing and found a notice. HOA violation, unapproved excess windows. Fine, $5,000. No warning, no discussion, just punishment. I stood there reading it 3 times, half expecting it to disappear. I had overseen million-dollar security operations, handled hostile negotiations, and coordinated emergency responses. But this was absurd. I requested a hearing. Karen chaired it. She sat at the head of the table like a judge, flanked by 2 board members who looked uncomfortable already. She spoke with rehearsed authority. "These windows compromise uniformity," she said. "Uniformity is safety." That line almost made me smile. I calmly explained that the windows were approved in the original construction permit, passed city inspection, and violated no HOA bylaw. Karen dismissed it all with a wave of her hand. "You should have consulted the HOA before purchasing," she said smugly. That was my first clue. She wasn't enforcing rules. She was testing power. After the hearing, things escalated fast. Karen started documenting me. I caught her taking photos of my house from across the street. She sent follow-up notices. Failure to pay the fine would result in penalties, liens, and security reassessment. That last phrase caught my attention. You see, I wasn't just a resident. I was the chief of neighborhood security operations, contracted by the HOA itself. I oversaw surveillance systems, emergency response protocols, access control, and coordination with local law enforcement. I didn't flaunt it. I believe good security worked best quietly. Karen knew someone ran security. She just didn't know it was me. One afternoon, I found a letter stating my access privileges to certain community areas were under review. That's when I realized Karen was crossing from petty tyranny into dangerous incompetence. Security isn't about ego. It's about trust, structure, and intelligence. Karen had none of those. She called an emergency HOA meeting to address safety concerns regarding unauthorized architectural deviations. Translation: my windows. The room was packed. Residents whispered. Karen stood tall, confident. She launched into a speech about visibility risks, privacy threats, and how my house invited observation. That's when I stood up. Calm, measured, professional. "I'd like to clarify something," I said, "before we proceed." Karen sighed dramatically. "You'll have your turn." "I am," I replied. I clicked my tablet and projected a map of the neighborhood onto the screen. Camera placements, blind spots, emergency routes. Gasps rippled through the room. "I designed this system. I continued. I manage it. I coordinate incident response. And every safety improvement this community enjoys came through my office." Karen's face tightened. "I am the security chief for this neighborhood." Silence. Then someone asked, "Wait, you?" Karen laughed nervously. "That's irrelevant." It wasn't, because I wasn't done. Karen thought she could outmuscle me with fines and paperwork, but she didn't realize she had just put herself under a microscope. And everything she'd been doing was about to come back on her. Once authority is challenged publicly, it either doubles down or collapses. Karen doubled down. She accused me of conflict of interest, claimed I was using my position to intimidate the board. She demanded an external audit of security operations. I welcomed it. What Karen didn't know was that every decision she'd made had been logged. Emails, messages, unauthorized access requests, attempts to override protocols she didn't understand. The audit uncovered more than she expected. Karen had repeatedly interfered with security systems, ordering cameras redirected to monitor residents, requesting access logs without authorization, even attempting to deactivate a gate during a personal dispute with a neighbor. That wasn't just unethical. It was illegal. Residents began speaking up. Stories poured out. Selective enforcement, harassment, fines issued without cause, retaliation against anyone who disagreed with her. The board panicked. They suspended Karen pending investigation. That's when she came to my house. Not with a clipboard, with desperation. She begged, claimed she was misunderstood, said she was just trying to protect the neighborhood. I listened. Then I handed her a copy of the audit findings and told her the matter was now in the hands of legal counsel. The final HOA meeting was standing room only. Karen didn't sit at the head of the table. She sat in the audience. The board announced the results. Karen was removed permanently from the HOA, fined personally for misuse of authority, and referred for legal review regarding privacy violations. My $5,000 fine? Void. Publicly, with apology. The board also voted unanimously to revise HOA enforcement procedures, requiring transparency, resident review, and third-party oversight. As for Karen, she sold her house 3 months later. The neighborhood got quieter, friendlier, safer. My windows still let in the light. And every time the sun hits the glass just right, I'm reminded of one simple truth. When control-hungry people mistake authority for power, karma doesn't knock. It walks in with credentials.